the lone survivor of the void. Dr. Alex Mercer had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe. As a leading astrobiologist, he had dedicated his life to the exploration of distant worlds and the search for extraterrestrial life. The Starhawk, an old but reliable research ship, had been his home for the past few years, taking him and his crew to the farthest reaches of space. Alex's last memory before entering the hibernation pod was of the crew's laughter and excitement as they prepared for their mission to the uncharted star system. The mission was supposed to last 6 months, during which the crew would remain in stasis, waking only upon arrival at their destination. But something had gone terribly wrong. As Alex slowly regained consciousness, he felt disoriented and groggy. The hibernation pod's lid hissed open, and he struggled to sit up, his muscles weak and unsteady. His vision was blurred, and his mind was a foggy mess of fragmented thoughts and memories. The ship was eerily silent. The familiar hum of the engines and the chatter of his crewmates were absent, replaced by an oppressive stillness. Alex's heart pounded in his chest as he stumbled out of the pod, his legs trembling beneath him. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Alex's voice echoed through the empty chamber, but there was no response. A sense of dread settled over him as he looked around, realizing that he was alone. Determined to find out what had happened, Alex made his way to the control room, his steps unsteady and cautious. The ship's corridors were dimly lit, and the air felt cold and stale. As he approached the control room, a sense of foreboding washed over him. The sight that greeted him was worse than he could have imagined. The bodies of his crewmates lay strewn across the room, their lifeless eyes staring into the void. A choked sob escaped Alex's lips as he fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Memories of the crew's last moments before the accident flooded his mind. The mission had been going smoothly until a freak accident had caused a catastrophic failure in the ship's systems. Alex had been safely tucked away in his hibernation pod, spared from the disaster that had claimed the lives of his friends. But the accident had also caused a malfunction in the hibernation pod, extending his sleep from 6 months to 10 years. The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. He had been drifting through space for a decade, alone and unaware of the passage of time. Alex's grief and guilt threatened to overwhelm him, but he knew he had to stay focused. He needed to understand the full extent of the damage and find a way to survive. As the days passed, Alex came to terms with his isolation and the fact that 10 years had passed since the accident. The ship's systems were in disarray, and supplies were limited. He knew he had to ration his food and water carefully and find a way to repair the ship's critical systems. Alex spent hours examining the ship's systems, assessing the damage, and making necessary repairs. He worked tirelessly, driven by a desperate need to survive. The ship's distress signal had been activated, but there was no way to know if anyone had received it. In his solitude, Alex found solace in the memories of his crewmates. He kept a journal, documenting his thoughts and experiences, hoping that one day, someone would find it and understand the challenges he had faced. As the weeks turned into months, Alex began to notice strange, unexplainable phenomena occurring on the ship. He heard voices echoing through the corridors, faint whispers that seemed to call his name. Shadows flickered at the edge of his vision, and he caught glimpses of his deceased crewmates. At first, Alex dismissed these occurrences as hallucinations caused by stress and isolation. But the phenomena persisted, growing more frequent and intense. The line between reality and illusion began to blur, and Alex's mental state started to deteriorate. Desperate for answers, Alex decided to investigate the source of the strange occurrences. He scoured the ship's logs and records, looking for any clues that might explain what was happening. During his investigation, Alex discovered a hidden section of the ship that contained experimental technology. The entrance to this section was concealed behind a bulkhead, accessible only through a security code known to a select few. The heavy door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit corridor lined with reinforced walls. The air was cooler here, and the sense of isolation and secrecy was palpable. Alex's footsteps echoed as he made his way deeper into the restricted area, his flashlight cutting through the shadows. As he entered a control room filled with consoles and monitors, Alex's eyes were drawn to a large display screen showing a complex web of data. He scanned the room, taking in the array of sophisticated equipment and the eerie silence that surrounded him. Why would they keep this a secret? Alex muttered to himself, his curiosity piqued. He began examining the records and schematics stored in the system's database. The data revealed that the experimental technology had been designed to study and manipulate temporal anomalies. The project, codenamed Chrono, had been a highly classified endeavor, known only to the ship's captain and a few key personnel. As Alex delved deeper into the records, he discovered logs detailing the initial tests of the Chrono technology. The logs described successful manipulation of small-scale temporal anomalies, with the potential for more extensive applications. However, the risks and ethical implications had been a constant concern. A sense of unease settled over Alex as he read the final entries in the logs. The last few records were cryptic and hurried, suggesting a growing urgency and desperation among the researchers. The logs hinted at an impending experiment that had gone terribly wrong, leading to the catastrophic accident that had claimed the lives of the crew. Alex's mind raced with questions. What had they been trying to achieve? Why had the experiment been allowed to proceed despite the risks? And how had the temporal anomaly trapped the ship and its occupants in a continuous cycle of echoes from the past? Determined to find answers, Alex accessed the ship's security footage from the day of the accident. The grainy video feed showed the crew working in the control room, their expressions tense and focused. Captain Rain was at the helm, coordinating the experiment and issuing orders. Suddenly, a bright flash of light erupted from the central console, followed by a series of violent tremors. The crew scrambled to contain the anomaly, but it was too late. The screen flickered and went dark, leaving Alex with a sense of foreboding. Realizing the danger of the experimental technology, Alex knew he had to find a way to deactivate it. But the task would not be easy. The technology was complex and unstable, and tampering with it could have catastrophic consequences. He had to proceed with caution, knowing that the fate of the ship and his own survival depended on his actions. Determined to uncover the truth, Alex continued his investigation into the experimental technology. He spent countless hours studying the schematics and records, trying to understand how the temporal anomaly had been created. As he pieced together the puzzle, Alex discovered that the technology had been designed to manipulate time and space, allowing for the possibility of time travel. The accident had caused a feedback loop, trapping the ship and its occupants in a continuous cycle of echoes from the past. The more he delved into the data, the more Alex realized the magnitude of the project and the ethical dilemmas it posed. The Chrono technology had the potential to alter the course of history, but it also carried the risk of creating temporal paradoxes and destabilizing the fabric of reality itself. Alex's struggle to differentiate between reality and illusion intensified. The echoes became more vivid, replaying moments from the crew's final days. He saw Captain Rain giving orders, heard the laughter and conversations of his crewmates, and witnessed the chaos and panic during the accident. During these haunting echoes, Alex also reminisced about his own past and the family he had left behind. He remembered his wife, Emma, and their young daughter, Lily. The memories of their laughter, love, and warmth brought both comfort and pain. Alex's heart ached with longing and regret, knowing that he had missed 10 years of their lives. One night, as Alex pored over the ship's logs, he stumbled upon a hidden audio recording. The recording was marked with the captain's personal encryption code, and Alex's hands trembled as he decrypted the file. The recording crackled to life, and Captain Rain's voice filled the room. "This is Captain Jonathan Rain. If you're hearing this, it means something has gone terribly wrong. The Chrono project was our greatest ambition, but it may also be our undoing." Alex's breath caught in his throat as he listened to the captain's words. "We believed we could unlock the secrets of time, but we underestimated the risks. The feedback loop created by the experiment has trapped us in a continuous cycle of echoes from the past. We are haunted by our own actions, and the ship is caught in a temporal anomaly." The captain's voice grew more urgent. "The only way to end this is to deactivate the Chrono core. But be warned, it will require a manual override, and the process is dangerous. If you succeed, you may be able to set things right. If you fail, the consequences could be catastrophic." Alex's mind raced with a mixture of fear and determination. He knew that deactivating the Chrono core was the only way to free the ship from the temporal anomaly, but the task would require immense courage and precision. With a heavy heart, Alex made his way to the hidden section of the ship where the Chrono core was housed. The core was a massive, pulsating sphere of energy, surrounded by intricate machinery and control panels. The air hummed with a sense of power and danger. As he approached the core, Alex felt a surge of determination. He knew that the fate of the ship and the memory of his crew mates rested on his shoulders. With meticulous care, he began the process of deactivating the core, following the captain's instructions and relying on his own expertise. The task was fraught with challenges. The systems were intricate and unstable, and each step required precision and caution. The echoes of the past continued to haunt him, adding to the difficulty of his task. In his moments of despair, Alex found strength in the memories of his family. He remembered the promises he had made to Emma and Lily, and he was determined to honor those promises. He worked tirelessly, fueled by the hope of reuniting with his loved ones. As he neared the core of the experimental technology, Alex encountered a final obstacle, a security system designed to prevent tampering. The system required a manual override, which would expose him to lethal levels of radiation. Knowing the risks, Alex made the ultimate sacrifice. He disabled the security system, enduring the excruciating pain of radiation exposure. With his last ounce of strength, he deactivated the chrono core, ending the temporal loop. With the chrono core deactivated, the ship's systems began to stabilize, and the temporal loop showed signs of resolving. Alex, exhausted and weakened from radiation exposure, knew that his ordeal was far from over. The echoes of the past continued to linger, and he needed to confront them to find closure. One night, as Alex wandered the ship's corridors, he encountered the echo of Captain Rain once again. The apparition was a ghostly figure, flickering in and out of existence, but its presence was undeniable. "Alex," the echo of Captain Rain said, its voice filled with sorrow. "The accident was a result of our tampering with the experimental technology. We were too ambitious, too reckless. And now we are trapped in this temporal loop." Alex's heart ached as he listened to the captain's words. "I need to find a way to end this," he replied, his voice trembling with determination. "I need to set things right." The echo of Captain Rain nodded. "The answer lies in the core of the experimental technology. You must deactivate it, but be careful. Tampering with it could have dire consequences." With a heavy heart, Alex made his way to the hidden section of the ship where the chrono core was housed. The core was a massive, pulsating sphere of energy, surrounded by intricate machinery and control panels. The air hummed with a sense of power and danger. As he approached the core, Alex felt a surge of determination. He knew that the fate of the ship and the memory of his crewmates rested on his shoulders. With meticulous care, he began the process of deactivating the core, following the captain's instructions and relying on his own expertise. The task was fraught with challenges. The systems were intricate and unstable, and each step required precision and caution. The echoes of the past continued to haunt him, adding to the difficulty of his task. In his moments of despair, Alex found strength in the memories of his family. He remembered the promises he had made to Emma and Lily, and he was determined to honor those promises. He worked tirelessly, fueled by the hope of reuniting with his loved ones. As he neared the core of the experimental technology, Alex encountered a final obstacle, a security system designed to prevent tampering. The system required a manual override, which would expose him to lethal levels of radiation. Knowing the risks, Alex made the ultimate sacrifice. He disabled the security system, enduring the excruciating pain of radiation exposure. With his last ounce of strength, he deactivated the chrono core, ending the temporal loop. The moment the chrono core was deactivated, a wave of energy rippled through the ship, dispelling the echoes and restoring stability. The ship's systems hummed back to life, and the oppressive sense of unease began to lift. Alex, weakened and in agony from the radiation exposure, collapsed to the floor. His vision blurred, and he felt his consciousness slipping away. But as he lay there, he felt a sense of peace and relief. He had done it. He had freed the ship from the temporal anomaly. In the moments before he lost consciousness, Alex saw the flickering image of Captain Rain one last time. The captain's ghostly figure looked at him with gratitude and pride. "Thank you, Alex," the captain's echo whispered. "You have saved us all. Your bravery will not be forgotten." With those words echoing in his mind, Alex finally succumbed to the darkness, his body and mind exhausted from the ordeal. As the temporal anomaly resolved, the ship's distress signal finally reached a nearby rescue vessel. The crew of the vessel, alerted by the signal, made their way to the Starhawk. They found Alex unconscious but alive, his body weak and ravaged by radiation exposure. The rescue team worked quickly to stabilize him and transport him to their medical bay. Days later, Alex awoke in the infirmary of the rescue vessel. He was surrounded by medical equipment, and the faces of the rescue crew were filled with concern and relief. "Welcome back, Dr. Mercer," a medic said gently. "You did it. You saved the ship." Alex's mind was a whirlwind of emotions. He had survived the ordeal, but the memories of his crew mates and the sacrifices he had made weighed heavily on his heart. He thought of Emma and Lily, and a tear rolled down his cheek. The rescue vessel's captain approached, a look of admiration in his eyes. "Your bravery and determination are commendable, Dr. Mercer. We'll be returning you to civilization. Your family will be waiting for you." With a mixture of grief and hope, Alex prepared for the journey home. He knew that the road to recovery would be long and difficult, but he was determined to honor the memory of his crew mates and the legacy of the Starhawk. As the rescue vessel sped through the vast expanse of space, Alex found himself reflecting on his past. He remembered the day he first met Emma, her warm smile and kind eyes. They had fallen in love quickly, and their bond had only grown stronger with time. Their daughter, Lily, had been a beacon of light in their lives, her laughter filling their home with joy. Alex's thoughts were filled with memories of family outings, bedtime stories, and shared dreams of the future. He had left Earth with the promise of returning to his family after the mission, but the freak accident had changed everything. The rescue vessel finally reached a space station, where Alex was greeted by medical personnel and representatives from the United Federation of Earth. He underwent a thorough medical examination, and his radiation exposure was treated with advanced medical technology. Days turned into weeks as Alex recuperated. During this time, he was debriefed by the Federation's officials, who were eager to learn about the events that had transpired on the Starhawk. Alex shared his experiences, recounting the accident, the echoes of the past, and his efforts to deactivate the experimental technology. News of Alex's ordeal spread, and he became a symbol of resilience and courage. Messages of support and gratitude poured in from across the galaxy, but Alex's thoughts remained focused on his family. Finally, the day came for Alex to return to Earth. As the shuttle descended through the planet's atmosphere, Alex's heart raced with anticipation. He had been gone for 10 years, and he wondered how much had changed in his absence. The shuttle touched down at the Federation's spaceport, and Alex stepped out, his eyes scanning the crowd for familiar faces. His breath caught in his throat as he saw Emma and Lily standing there, their eyes filled with tears and smiles of joy. "Alex!" Emma's voice was a mixture of relief and disbelief as she rushed forward, wrapping her arms around him. "You're home. You're really home." Lily, now a teenager, joined the embrace, her tears mingling with her laughter. "Dad, we missed you so much." Tears streamed down Alex's face as he held his family close. "I missed you too. I'm so sorry for everything." Emma's voice was gentle but firm. "You don't have to apologize, Alex. You're here now, and that's all that matters." As Alex looked into the eyes of his wife and daughter, he felt a sense of peace and closure. He had faced unimaginable challenges and survived against all odds, but the love of his family had given him the strength to endure. The journey had been long and arduous, but Alex was finally home. The memories of the Starhawk and its crew would always remain with him, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as he embraced his family, he knew that the future held the promise of new beginnings and endless possibilities. In the months that followed, Alex worked with the Federation to honor the memory of his crewmates. A memorial was established in their names, and the Starhawk was salvaged and studied to prevent future accidents. Alex returned to his work as an astrobiologist, but he approached his research with a renewed sense of purpose. He dedicated his efforts to understanding the mysteries of the universe while ensuring the safety and well-being of those who ventured into the stars. The echoes of the past had taught him valuable lessons, and he carried those lessons with him as he embarked on new missions. The legacy of the Starhawk and its crew lived on, inspiring future generations of explorers and scientists. As Alex stood on the observation deck of a new research ship, he watched the stars twinkle in the vast expanse of space. He knew that the journey was far from over, and the universe still held countless wonders to be discovered. With his family by his side and the memory of his crew mates in his heart, Alex embraced the future with hope and determination. The echoes in the void had been silenced, and a new dawn had begun. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like for more videos like this.